Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Seriously, X-Men 97, I love it. I remember when it was first announced, I was pretty nervous about it because we live in an era of reboots and whatnot and lack of original ideas. So the best thing that these companies think to do is revitalize old shows and remake movies, from way back when. And oh, we're going to bring back this show or this movie you love, and we're going to give it a modern take. And those two words in the woke era we live in are mostly dead on arrival in terms of the products that come out, because they gender swap, they race swap, they change sexualities of this characters for the sake of, hey, we're hip to the culture and whatnot. But I think with 97, as soon as they said that Morph was non-binary, that literally turned off a lot of fans. But thankfully, we're 6 episodes in, and that really hasn't played much of a factor. If nothing else, Morph is one of my favorite characters, and no, it has nothing to do with the whole non-binary thing. That hasn't really factored in much at all. It's the fact that he shapeshifts art. Well, I know it's they, them, but I know Morph as a he from the original series, so forgive me if I say the wrong pronouns, but Morph transforms into a bunch of random Marvel characters. If you are a Marvel fan and you know the lore, most of the characters that we see Morph transform into, it's like, oh, hey, is that character? And that one is like, oh, are we going to see them later on in the series? Or is this Marvel's way of adding in these characters into the universe because Morph transforms into them, which I think is pretty cool. But episode 5 was the episode that truly had everybody talking, with spoilers here. Gambit's sacrifice at the end. I mean, the last 10 minutes of episode 5 was just insanity with the attack on Genosha. But, season 1 is only going to be 10 episodes. And because of that, a lot of the storylines, if you watched the 90s series way back when, that 90s X-Men and the Spider-Man animated series, those were truly shows where it felt like the comic books were watchable. It's like they would take popular story arcs from the comics and put it in animation form, which was great. And some of these arcs would last several episodes. Whereas in this series, like for example, episode 3 with the Madeline Pryor Goblin Queen stuff, that was all crammed into like 20 something minutes. And it was like, dang, that was a lot of stuff. I mean, it was still a solid episode, but it's like a lot of stuff went down, like character reactions to Jean's clone, and kind of the hypocrisy of like Scott saying he doesn't want to abandon his son, but then stepping out of the room when they send him to the future. It's just like, wait, what? But overall, I've really been enjoying the series, and I can't wait to see what's next. I believe before the show even dropped on Disney Plus, they renewed it for a second season, but the showrunner for the first 2 seasons got fired, but we don't know why. But I did read a report that he was brought back, and then he's also going to be working on an X-Men film or something. I got to double check the sources on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did bring him back, because again, I don't know why he got, booted, but because of the success of 97, yeah, they had to bring him back. So hopefully that is true, because seriously, I mean, what the guys are doing with this show is amazing, and I can't wait to see what's next, especially if they greenlight longer than 10 episode seasons. That way it doesn't feel like these humongous story arcs have to be crammed into like 1 or 2 episodes at best. But I'd say that some of the voice acting is a little stiff, because a lot of these actors, obviously, if they haven't retired, they're older, so their voices don't sound as great as they did in the 90s. Like Rogue is one of the standouts where the voice just, you can tell it's older as opposed to the original series. So Magneto and Storm are probably my favorite voice actors. In terms of the characters, their voices, those are my favorites right now. And then, episode 2 was probably my favorite episode until episode 5 dropped. But episode 1, give them the forecast. Omega level threat detected. And then Storm literally brought down the thunder. That was incredible. Episode 2, Magneto's trial. I love that. It's just one of those things where it's like the Killmonger approach, where it's like the bad guy has a very good point. And then you have episode 3, which was amazing, but a lot of stuff crammed into, 20, 30 minutes. Episode 4, episode 4, I don't think was bad. It's my least favorite episode. It was a half Jubilee, half Storm episode. But then episode 5 just like was incredible. Episode 6, I was never a fan of the space stuff in the original series. Like, the Shi'ar Empire, so the Phoenix Saga, the Dark Phoenix Saga. Let me put it this way. My favorite part of this Phoenix Saga was actually, I think, the first half of the Dark Phoenix Saga when Jean got inducted into the Hellfire Club. That was my favorite bit of that saga. So when she went on full Dark Phoenix and then the Shi'ar wanted to kill Jean, I didn't care about that part. I don't know why. I just did not care about that stuff at all. It's just like the Phoenix Saga, the original Phoenix Saga, when the Shi'ar stuff got, implemented. The Lady Deathstrike stuff leading into the Phoenix Saga, I like that a lot more than the Phoenix Saga. I don't know why. I just felt like maybe it was just way too many new characters crammed in at once. Maybe I should rewatch it now that I'm an adult, because, with some of these comic book shows or some of these shows with great writing and lengthy story arcs, as a kid, I really didn't care for them that much. Case in point, Justice League, I didn't dislike it. It's just like I wasn't crazy about it as a kid. When I was in college, I just so happened to see a couple of clips of the series on YouTube, and I was intrigued. I think it was when Batman was getting whooped by Lex Luthor, but then come to find out Brainiac was inside of his body. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is crazy. So then I actually bought the DVD series for Justice League and Unlimited, and I loved it because I was older and I was able to grasp the concept of the writing and follow the story arcs and whatnot. It's a classic example of when you watch something as a kid and you really don't really feel it, but when you watch it as an adult, you can appreciate the quality writing and character dynamics. And I feel like the same way with X-Men. I love the series, but as an adult and reading comics, it actually really stood out a lot more. Like, wow, it's like the show did a great adaptation of it. So yeah, maybe I need to give the Phoenix Saga another chance now as an adult. But yeah, 97's killing it. I really can't wait to see what they do with future seasons of the show. What was this, episode 6 that just dropped? So we have 4 episodes left before the season's over. But yeah, 97's killing it, and hopefully this means the return of some of the other Marvel animated shows. I think everybody is talking about, the same one, Spider-Man the Animated Series. Heck, you don't even need to continue the show. When I say that, I mean you don't even need to bring it back for like 20 different seasons. We just really want a final season, because the show was originally supposed to get a final season, but for whatever reason it never happened. But yeah, with 97 blowing up, maybe Spider-Man comes back. I believe there was the Incredible Hulk series. There was a Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Iron Man series. Yeah, there was a lot of them. But before the MCU, there was the animated universe, kind of like, DC had theirs, the Timverse, if you will. So with that being said, have you checked out X-Men 97? If you have, what are your thoughts on it? Do you enjoy it? Do you feel like it's too much of a departure from the original series? Do you like these rebooted stuff, or do you think that they should leave well enough alone and just do other things? Also, X-Men Evolution, very underrated series. I love that series. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.